How to freeze cherries. When it's cherry season, it's nice to be able to preserve some of the harvest for later months when cherries aren't so easy to come by. Freezing cherries is one good way of keeping them for longer. Method 1. Simple rinse and freeze. 1. Select suitable cherries. The cherries should be ripe but not overripe and in excellent condition without blemishes. Dark cherries are best for freezing if you want them to retain their sweetness. 2. Rinse the cherries. Tip the cherries into a colander. Wash under running water, hand-picking out any debris that you can see. Use cold water only for rinsing. Decide now whether you want to pit and stem the cherries or not. 3. Drain the cherries thoroughly. Let dry before proceeding. Place on absorbent paper to wick away the moisture. Gently pat dry with a paper towel. 4. Pack the cherries into a suitable container. If adding to a resealable freezer bag, pack as tightly as possible and try to gently expel excess air without squashing the cherries. If adding to a freezer-proof container with lid, add as many cherries as possible before putting the lid on. 5. Place into the freezer. Let freeze. Leave space around the bag, if using one, to allow for expansion while freezing. 6. Remove from the freezer as needed. Use as many or as few of the cherries as needed each time, simply pull away the amount you want. Return the rest of the cherries to the freezer before they start to thaw. 7. Remove the stems from the cherries before using in cooking. For baking and other recipes, you will likely also need to remove the pit. Method 2. Freezing cherries in syrup or juice. 1. Select the cherries you wish to freeze. Decide whether you want the pits and stems removed. Rinse the cherries by placing them in a colander and gently running the tap over them. Remove any debris you see. 2. Allow the cherries to dry. Place on absorbent paper to wick away the moisture. Gently pat dry with a paper towel. 3. Select either juice or syrup for the cherries. You'll need enough of either to cover the cherries. Pour into the freezer-proof container. The ratio is about 1:2 to 2, 3 cups syrup or juice to 1 pint cherries. Leftover juice from canned fruit, such as pineapple, peaches or apricots, makes a nice contrast with the cherries. Light syrup is best for sweet cherries and medium syrup for sour cherries. For example, use 2 cups sugar to 4 cups of water for sour cherries and 4 cups sugar to 4 cups of water for sweet cherries. 4. Add a little ascorbic acid to the juice or syrup. This will prevent the cherries from browning. 5. Add the cherries to the mixture. Check that the syrup or juice is covering all of the cherries, if not, top it up. 6. Put the lid on or seal. Label and date. Place the cherries in the freezer. Method 3. Cookie sheet freezing. 1. Select the cherries. Choose plump, good quality cherries for this method. 2. Rinse the cherries. Place in a colander and clean under running water. Leave the pits in place. The stems should not be removed until the cherries are dry again. 3. Allow to air dry. Place the cherries on absorbent paper to dry. They can be gently patted with paper towel if you need to hurry the process. If removing the stems, do so now. It's not necessary, but you may prefer it. 4. Lay parchment paper across a baking sheet. 5. Arrange the clean cherries across the cookie sheet. Cover with a sheet of plastic wrap or a clean cloth. Place in the freezer to freeze. 6. Remove when frozen. Repackage inside either resealable bags or freezer-proof containers. Remove as much air as possible for either container. Label and date and place straight back into the freezer. 7. Use. These cherries are fine-eaten frozen or can be added to food when the pits are removed. Method 4. Dry sugar pack freezing for sour cherries. 1. Select the sour cherries for freezing. Rinse and air dry the cherries, removing any debris during cleaning. 2. Mix the cherries with the sugar. Use 2-3 cup of sugar per quart, 950 g of cherries. If using sweet cherries, use a 1-3 cup of sugar per quart, 950 g sweet cherries. 3. Fill the freezer container or resealable bag to about 1-2 inch 15 cm from the top with the sugar cherry mixture. Press gently to expel as much air as possible if using a bag. By packing the cherries in as high as possible but still allow room for expansion, this allows less space for air. Label and date the containers or bags. 4. Place in the freezer. Things. A colander. Resealable bags or freezer-proof containers with lid. Baking sheet. Parchment paper.